Hi, I'm Kim, the chiropractor, and today I'm going to take you through a couple of neck stretches. So these are really great if you wake up or if you've been noticing by the end of the day that you're feeling a bit tight, maybe underneath the base of the skull or down and through the neck into the shoulder area. So the first thing that we want to be doing is just taking our neck through a gentle range of motion. So often when we think about the day, we don't actually do movements like this very often or like this very often. Now, if we haven't done those movements for a while, just like any muscle, we don't want to go from this much movement to all of a sudden cranking our head around to do a full range of motion. So we always want to warm up those muscles first. So it's always good to start slow and then build into it. So the first one we're going to do is just turning to the left and turning to the right. And you'll notice that to start off with, I'm not going that full range of motion. And then we're going to do up and down. Just nice and gentle. We're not going for a stretch just yet. It should feel comfortable. It should just be normal movements. And same little tilt side to side. Now that we've done a little bit of a warm up and through there, we're going to go just a little bit further. And just each time that you rotate your head, you're just going to go that little bit further until it feels comfortable to go as far as you can go. Now, if you do currently have neck pain at the moment, what I do recommend is you just do pain-free movement. So I don't want you doing any movement unless you've been advised by a healthcare professional that creates pain. So I just want you to go as far as feels comfortable. So if you get pain here, you're just going to go and do this movement here instead of constantly going ow, ow. Often that's just poking the bear, making it more angry. So just keep it nice and simple. Then once we've done the side looking left and right, we're going to go up and down, and up and down. Good. We're just going a little bit further each time. And with this one, we can kind of let that head really drop to the chest. And you notice I'm actually letting my shoulders come down a bit as well. So if your neck is feeling pretty good with just the standard range of motion, we can go a little bit further with dropping those shoulders as well. And then the side to side. So ear to shoulder, ear to shoulder. And this movement we don't really do very often in the day. So often I find people are quite restricted with this movement. And it takes a bit to warm up, and often you'll feel kind of a pull early on in that stretch. So now that we've done those basic lovely movements, we can go into some circles. So we're going to essentially imagine making a circle with your nose. So we're going to look down to the side and up, and the other side. And we can start small and slowly get bigger, and to the point where at that full range of motion to what feels good. And you can go really slow with this. It's a lovely time just to check in with your body and just see what feels tight, what feels loose. Where are those tight spots? Where are those loose spots? And you'll notice what I'm doing is just when I find a tight spot, I might just gently roll one way and the other. Now, notice I'm not kind of, dropping my head. I've got control over my neck the entire time, and I'm just doing slow and gentle movements. Nice and slow, nice and gentle. And then once we've gone the one way a couple of times, going back the other way a couple of times. Nice and slow, nice and controlled. Just allowing those muscles to go a little bit longer than they have been throughout the day. And again, if you've got quite tight neck muscles, you might only be sticking with this sort of range of motion at the moment. That's okay, just do what feels comfortable for you. Now we've done some of those, we can kind of isolate where we felt the tightest during that time. So if you felt tightest when you're coming in these sort of sections, focus on this next lot of stretches that I'm going to show you. If you're tighter with these sort of movements, we're going to show you some stretches for that too. So the first one is we're going to drop our head ear to shoulder again and drop our head slightly forward. And if you're quite tight, you probably will already start to feel a bit of a pull down and through here. And you can modify how far forward you go or more towards the ear you go, just to isolate that stretch a bit more. And then if that's not enough of a stretch, if you can kind of only just feel it pulling, you can use the weight of your hand just to let that head come down a little bit further. So just, you're not yanking it, you're not pulling it, you're just using the weight of your hand and a controlled amount of weight as well on that head. And the other thing I quite like to do is, if I'm still not quite getting enough of a stretch, just to slouch a little bit further forward. So let those shoulders and head come forward, then go into that position, and then let that head come forward and through there. And by changing the angles, you're going to get slightly different muscle groups coming forward, which I love to do, just to change that stretch very slightly so we can get a deeper and more efficient and effective stretch. So always do it on the other side as well. Now with neck stretches, I find we don't want to hold them for as long, because if we're in this position for a long time, when we come up we can sometimes feel a bit stiff and achy. So if you're really quite tight, sometimes just starting with kind of 5 to 10 seconds with lovely deep breaths through it, or 5 to 10 deep breaths, and then swapping sides, and sometimes just going back 2 or 3 times. So we don't want to hold them for a really extended period of time. So doing it on the other side as well, dropping your ear to your shoulder, dropping in. If we want to, we can slouch a little bit in through there as well, and then using the weight of our hand just to get that stretch even deeper in through there. Now, the more you tuck your chin in and the more these muscles loosen up, the more you'll start to get a stretch higher up and through there as well. Just like that. So I'm really tucking in my chin, and I'm just doing a little bit of a pull just to get up and through there. Now, that's only once these muscles have loosened off. Often, if these are really, really tight and overpowering this up here, you'll need to loosen these off first. Now we're going to go to the side and then lift your head up. And so this is going to stretch all these muscles in the front and through here. And so we're just letting it tilt up and letting our chin go up as well. And we can really let that chin go up. And that can often feel a lovely stretch in through here, and of course down in here as well. And this, if you think about it, how often do we do that sort of movement? Very rarely. So just take your time, go nice and easy. Remember, sometimes less is more for the neck. Do a little bit and then swap onto the other side. So those are some great stretches that you can do at home for your neck. Often I find also when we tighten our neck, the mid back also gets tight, whether we feel it or not. So definitely check out my other video on mid back stretches, and that's going to be a great supplement to those neck stretches that you've been doing. So you can do both of those. The other thing that you can do is focus on your posture throughout the day. The more our head comes forward, the more strain it puts on these muscles. So remembering, the closer the weight is to our center of gravity, the easier it is to hold on to. The further away it goes from our center of gravity, the harder it is to hold on to. So if we can keep our head over our shoulders, the less strain it's going to put on those muscles throughout the day. The other thing that we can do is take little breaks and reset our posture. So every 20 or 30 minutes, do a couple of shoulder rolls, do a couple of those stretches I showed you at the start, where you're just gently turning your head left and right, up and down and side to side, just to give those muscles a bit of a break from constantly staring at your screen or at your phone, or when you've been reading, or whatever else that you've been doing to aggravate these muscles. I hope this helps. Leave us a comment below. Click like or subscribe if you think this content's awesome. We always love new subscribers and we love hearing those comments as well. I'm Kim the Chiropractor.